I feel like I haven't introduced myself in a while, so my name is Marissa. I'm a PADI Master scuba diver. I have a huge passion for the water, for diving, and this channel is about diving, real talk and real discussions, personal growth. I love photography as well, so I post some pictures as well every now and then. But for more pictures, they're mainly on my Instagram page at @themindfuldiver_. So go check that out. But today's episode, we are going to talk about the buddy system and being a good dive buddy. So let's get to it. In recreational diving, you never dive solo, but you dive with a buddy. The buddy system is all about diving with another person or even a small group, and this is to watch out for each other, to make the dive safer and smoother. And it's such a huge part in diving that it's actually introduced to you on your very first training session, and most likely your e-learning as well. What do you and your dive buddy do? You plan dives ahead of time, you help each other gear up, double check equipment, you keep an eye on time and depth limits, you help each other out if something doesn't go as planned, and you support each other in reaching your dive goals and just having fun together. The reason the dive community sticks to the buddy system is pretty simple. Number one, it's practical. You and your dive buddy help each other out before, during, and after every single dive. Two is it's safer. Having two sets of eyes is better than one when you're looking for potential issues or hazards. And the third reason being that it's just more fun. Diving is a social thing, so if you're able to share that moment with somebody else, makes it that much more enjoyable. But we are all human, and I think it's safe to say that on some levels that I'm going to explain in a couple minutes, we can all improve as far as being a buddy and the buddy system in general, because mistakes are made and things do happen. So it's always good to have a little refresher on how to be a good buddy and what to look for when you're looking for a buddy. Because when you're diving, the person swimming next to you isn't just a person swimming next to you. They're your safety net, they're your teammate, and honestly, it's part of what makes the whole experience so much more fun. But what actually makes a good buddy? Right now, we're going to break it down and we're going to go over things that you can look for as far as a buddy, but also things that you can do to be a better buddy. And I'm going to go over the red flags as well. First off is responsibility. A good buddy shows up prepared. Their gear's ready, they've done their checks already, they take the dive planning seriously. You don't want somebody who's just going to think of it as a casual swim, because diving safety starts long before you guys even hit the water. Red flags would be rushing on the boat to get everything done, missing gear all the time, not taking the dive planning seriously. And I understand with rushing, like some things happen. It's just life sometimes. But if it's consistently happening and that person's not being responsible, that's a red flag. Next up is going to be communication, and not just underwater, because good buddies will talk things through ahead of time before they get into the water. They're going to talk about the plan, which route they're going to take underwater, what to expect, any certain signals, and how to handle anything that might be unexpected. And of course, once you're down there, they check in on you to make sure you're good. Red flags would be, trying to go over hand signals, especially if you're new and you have specific questions and things you want to go over. And they're just they brush it off and say, yeah, I got it. It's fine. You'll be fine. No worries. Or if they're underwater and you had a dive plan and then they kind of just take off on their own, and then you're kind of left alone, and that puts you both at high risk. The next thing is staying calm under pressure. Things rarely go wrong underwater, but when they do, you want somebody who's going to stay calm in that situation, because them being calm will also make you calm as well. Red flags would be, if they panic right away and they bolt for the surface and they kind of leave you behind when you need help, things along those lines. A good buddy is also observant. And this goes back to my situational awareness episode and mindfulness episode, where they're kind of aware of everything going on around them. They're aware of where you are, they're aware of how you're doing, and kind of what's happening around you. And they're not drifting off doing their own dive while you're here signaling for their help. So a red flag would be just that. If they get into the water and you guys are down at depth and all of a sudden they take off into their own direction, and all of a sudden you need help and you're trying to signal them for their help and they're not even there, they don't even notice you, they don't know where you are. That's a big red flag. You don't want that to happen. Also, somebody who really doesn't check in on you when you're down at depth. Respect is another big one. Everyone has their dive limits, and a good dive buddy will respect your limits and your comfort levels. They won't push you to go deeper or push you to do a dive that you're not ready to do. So a red flag would be the complete opposite of that. They peer pressure you into doing something you don't want to do, saying you're fine, don't worry about it, just do it. And just showing no respect for your comfort level and your limits. When I was in Key Largo and I dove the Spiegel Grove, my dive buddy was wonderful. Right off the bat, he told me, I dove this wreck multiple times. I had said that this was my first time, and we were doing a double dive on the Spiegel Grove. Automatically, he said, what do you want to do? What's your comfort level? How deep did you go before? What are you trained in? Because he didn't know exactly what he knew I was a deep diver, but he didn't know my exact experience. And he said, we're doing a double dive. We can do the exterior the first dive. And if you feel comfortable, we can do the interior the second. Whatever your comfort level is at, we can do that. I was all in for everything. So I said, let's do the interior. Let's just, all of it. I'm ready for it. So we did that. But just the fact that he asked me what my comfort level was a great comfort to me, and it made me feel better. The next thing is honesty. If they are low on air, or if something feels off and they feel nervous, they tell you up front and they don't lie about it. Because that kind of trust is going to make both of you safer. So red flags for this would be, for example, just lying about anything. I did 110 dives when they really only did 20 dives. And this is a deep dive you guys are doing. Or a couple dives ago, they had a small leak in their tank because of a dried up O-ring, and they forgot to change it. And now, a few days later, it got worse. The leak got worse, and they didn't tell you about it because they thought it's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna squeeze one more dive out of it. And then, there's issues, and now the tank is leaking, and there goes that person's air. So you just want to have an honest dive buddy, and you want to be honest for your dive buddy as well. And the final thing is attitude. You want to have a positive, patient, and fun buddy to dive with, because this just makes everything more enjoyable for you and for them. Because you really want to share that experience with somebody underwater, and it just makes it a lot more fun to have somebody fun to dive with. Red flags would be complaining all the time, miserable, just having a really bad attitude. And it kind of, when you're on a boat on a beautiful day and you're about to jump in the water, the last thing you want is a Debbie Downer. Like, you just want somebody who's fun and excited about diving just as much as you are. So have a positive attitude, because it's going to make the dive much more enjoyable for both of you. The next part is going to be about buddy systems versus group diving. What's the difference? Because sometimes you're not diving with just one dive buddy. You're diving in a small group, whether it be a charter or a guided dive. So how does the buddy system work then? Even in a group dive, it's still buddy to buddy first. You and your assigned buddy are each other's primary safety nets. You're the ones doing the checks, you're staying in sight of each other, and you're keeping tabs on each other throughout the entire dive. The group as a whole will usually follow a guide or a dive leader, and their job is to keep everyone on the same path and within a safe area within that dive site. But that guide isn't your personal safety net, because they're managing the whole group, but not the individual diver. So it might feel like a team dive, but really that buddy system still applies. So think of it like this. If you are part of a group, then your buddy is your partner. If something happens underwater, then your buddy is the one that's going to be there first, and not the dive guide that's across the reef. But the best dive groups are people who understand the buddy system and who all stay together anyway, and who all communicate effectively underwater and above water before the dive. Next up is the quick buddy check breakdown. Before every dive, it's always smart to do a pre-dive check. And if you're newer to diving, then there is an acronym for it, and it's BWRAF. Don't think you would pronounce that. It would be something like BRAF, but just BWRAF is fine. So the B stands for BCD. You want to make sure that you inflate your BCD and you deflate it, make sure it works, and make sure your buddy does the same thing and theirs works as well. W is for weights. You and your buddy want to make sure that all your weights are secure and the quick releases work. R is for releases. You want to check your straps and your buckles for each other. A is for air, so you want to breathe from your primary and your octo, and if you have an air 2, you want to breathe from that as well. Make sure you can breathe effectively and check your gauges while you're doing this. And then F is for the final check. Kind of do a once over with each other and make sure you have your masks, your fins, your dive computer. Make sure there's nothing loose on each other so nothing gets tangled up or caught when you're underwater. It literally takes 1 to 2 minutes to do, and it can prevent a lot of problems when you're down at depth. At the end of the day, a great dive buddy is somebody who you trust, who you communicate with effectively, and who you have fun diving with. Because these dives aren't just about where you go, but it's about who you're diving with. So I'm curious, what makes a good dive buddy for you? Or do you have a funny or memorable buddy story? Drop it in the comments below because I'd love to hear your experiences. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more episodes like this. And as always, dive safe, dive smart, dive mindfully. We'll see you later.